Welcome to the Scaringi Law Lunch Break. This is your time of the day to learn a little bit about the law while you enjoy your lunch. Today we're going to talk about the Emoluments Clause of the U.S. Constitution. You probably never thought you would have to learn anything about that particular clause. But since President Trump took office, he has been the defendant in 3 Emoluments Clause lawsuits brought against him. What is the Emoluments Clause? Well, there are 2 sections in the U.S. Constitution. The first is the Foreign Emoluments Clause in Article 1, Section 9. Reads, "No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of Congress, accept any present emolument, office, or title of any kind whatever from any king, prince, or foreign state." The second clause is the Domestic Emoluments Clause in Article 2, Section 1. "The President shall at stated times receive for his services compensation, etc., etc., but he shall not receive within that period any other emolument from the United States or any of them," meaning the states. Well, what is an emolument? The President is arguing an emolument should be defined in the way the framers of the Constitution understood it and wrote it into the United States Constitution. Here he's using original meaning jurisprudence of Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Gorsuch, and Justice Scalia. The plaintiffs, of course, believe the Constitution is a living thing, and they want a much more expansive and broader definition of emolument. And interestingly, one of the expansive definitions for emolument comes out of a case that came out of Crawford County, Pennsylvania. In the first emoluments case, the lead plaintiff in the suit was Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. Boy, they have their work cut out for them, don't they? Their acronym, the name CREW. CREW is actually led by President Barack Obama's former ethics czar, Norm Eisen. CREW, along with some restaurants, claim President Trump, as a federal official, is receiving gifts, emoluments, from foreign governments who choose to rent rooms in Trump's hotels and dine in Trump's restaurants, and that this constitutes unfair competition with other hotels and restaurants, obviously not owned by Trump. The trial court dismissed the complaint, stating CREW did not adequately make any claim of injury, and that other plaintiffs lacked standing to sue. The judge said the parties couldn't prove they were hurt financially by potential business activity lost to Trump-owned businesses. CREW and the other plaintiffs appealed, but then a few months ago, CREW dropped out of the appeal. Interestingly, the judge said if there does exist examples of foreign governments giving gifts and currying favor with President Trump, that's a matter for Congress. Here the court indicates this is a political question and one the courts should stay out of. Oral arguments for the remaining parties in that case are set for October 30th, just a few days from now. There are 2 other emoluments cases. The second was brought by the Attorneys General of Maryland and Washington, D.C., and that case has survived its first round of legal challenges by the President and will now progress to the next stage in the civil litigation. The third case was brought by 200 Democratic members of Congress. They brought it against the President of the United States in federal court in Washington, D.C. Now, last month, the judge presiding decided members of Congress do have legal standing to sue President Trump for allegedly violating the Emoluments Clause by doing business with foreign governments while in office. The Department of Justice has appealed that ruling. The case is poised to move to the legal discovery stage, which is the next stage of a civil case. The Justice Department, however, has asked, has filed an appeal, and they're asking for all proceedings, including discovery, to halt until an appeals court rules. Now, in that case, Democrats in Congress argue the President has received foreign government favors, such as Chinese government trademarks for his companies, payments for hotel rooms and event space rentals by representatives of Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, and proceeds from Chinese or Emirati-linked government purchases of office space in Trump Tower, and that they have to prove that Congress has suffered harm as a result. I'm not so sure how Congress has suffered harm, but in any event, the case does move forward. The President claims these are business deals and not gifts or payola, so to speak, from foreign governments. Congress wants the court to order that Trump receive approval from Congress before each business deal of the foreign government. Can you imagine what that process would be like? And of course, they want access to all of Trump's books and records involved in each deal so that they can conduct massive fishing expeditions to look for anything they can use to embarrass the president. That case, as I say, is up on appeal. We'll keep you up to date on the progress of that and all three emoluments cases as they move forward. So there you have it. There's your brief overview of the three emoluments cases. Did you ever think that you'd have to talk about or know or understand about the Emoluments Clause of the United States Constitution? This is the first time an emoluments case has never been brought against any president in the history of our country, except naturally President Trump, and he's got three of them. Well, that's about all the time we have today for the Scaringi Law Lunch Break. Thanks for listening and enjoy your lunch.